Brad Holmes addressed the media today, and he essentially, the only thing that stuck out to me, D-Mac, he specifically mentioned Jamison Williams repeatedly. And people asked him about trading up, trading down, all that kind of stuff. And, he mentioned J-Mo about that and said if it's a player like J-Mo, we'll definitely do it. He talked about the fact, I don't draft for need. I'm going to get the best football players.
There you go.
He even said it, and I have to give Spencer the credit for it because I do that in this business, which I guess is a fault of mine, but whatever, because Spencer came up with it. He even said that, and he didn't say this directly, this was my takeaway. He said that it's getting tougher and tougher for us to draft, and those draft picks become immediate contributors. He did say directly, when we got here, we needed everybody.
Yeah.
We needed every position when we got here. So that's kind of changed now for them.
Absolutely.
So, just, D-Mac, when you look at it, it's just he's got a clear plan. He's aware of what people say. He talked about the edge thing. Everything that we talk about in the media, he addressed. He ain't changing, man.
No. It's his way. And I don't want him to change.
I don't either.
Just and the transparency of where we're at. I think it's the self-awareness and the fact that they do listen. They do hear the fans. They do see the same things we're seeing when they're watching the tape, and they go out and do something about it. So, now maybe that's the luxury of drafting best available talent in his mind to put him in a bunch of different positions. So, I mean, that's a good thing because that means what he said and what I heard also in there is that, because our guys are doing a heck of a job in developing. We're picking guys that are good. Now there's no jobs. Sort of like when, when I played, once I got once I got my job with the Red Wings, nobody else was coming along to take my job. Right. And then Draper Maltby felt the grind line felt the same way, so, that's the way it goes. So maybe along the way, his drafting style will change. He will draft for necessity, but so look for that. So, when you do your nickel packages and stuff like that, look for guys that would be Brad Holm, Dan Campbell type guys.
Yeah, I mean, just good football players. So, again, I know there's been a lot of talk.
Good football players and can adhere to the herd.
And there's been a lot of discussion, about the wide receiver thing. And that was the premise of the Jamison Williams talk. Was media was asking him about, wide receivers and things like that. And he just kind of, I don't want to say he warned everybody or anything like that. He just said, if the player fits where we're picking. But I'll tell you the most interesting thing that I took away. John McCroon from Detroit Sports Podcast. He was phenomenal just with the questions in the presser, though.
Yeah, shout out.
He bottom lined it and said, Brad, have you taken any phone calls from people interested in pick 28? No. Went to the next question.
There you go.
So,
So you got time for the Pistons game and the draft. Yes. We get to watch both.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. All right.
What do you make of that, D-Mac? Did you get any calls about pick 28? No. He's not. He doesn't strike me as the kind of guy that's going to stand up there and lie.
No. You've heard transparency in the past, and the fact of how he answered it. What the read off it is, no, they haven't. Doesn't mean that, right? You still got a week. Doesn't mean he's not gonna, but that's where they're at. So it's not like, and did he ask him, have you called anybody about pick 28? Was that question asked? Because he didn't answer that question.
Yeah, no, nobody asked that. DNC ENT, Brad was getting pretty pissed off about the edge questions too, which he was, by the way. After listening, and DNC ENT, after hearing his presser, I don't expect them to take an edge.
Come on, man.
I don't expect them to.
He also said there was a lot of edge talent in this draft.
Right,
I don't think
which tells you that they're not taking one in the first round.
I don't think he would come out and say that if he didn't at least think that it's a possibility.
No, but I think he's going to do it later.
He might.
I think that they got two or three dudes that they have circled that they expect to be there in the second round.
Yeah.
And they'll be more than happy to take them.
Hey,
more than
that
happy.
could be. Could be.
my takeaway from it was, here's what I think. They're going to go interior offensive line and then chase that with the edge.
Okay.
That's what I think. That's how I think it's going to go.
All right.
Because, and again, I don't want to, break my arm, pat myself on the back, but I think he's intrigued with the ability to get the best of something.
Exactly. He gets his pick of the litter if he takes an offensive lineman at 28.
Interior offensive line.
Yeah, interior offensive
Yeah,
line.
and D-Mac, like, that's, again, it works. And everyone needs to be ready for the fact that the first-round pick might not play. Might not play. If he goes interior offensive line, you think they're going to walk in here and start?
Well, I mean, if you're picking 28th too. Can I ask a question? Because somebody, said it in the chat. Why would somebody ask you about pick 28? Why would they be calling that? They wouldn't be calling on that unless it had a player attached to it or something, right? Or before they saw the way that the draft board played out. Like, is like, I'm wondering, because it's late in the first round, unless it was somebody who had a quarterback, right? Was thinking a quarterback, so they get the 5th year that it was thinking about drafting a quarterback.
No, I get it, but my guess would be that teams would probably hit you up just to initiate the discussion, to say, hey,
Right.
depending on that, hey, Brad.
Also foreshadowing.
Yeah, hey, Brad, where do you sit with 28?
Right.
Are you married to it?
Yeah.
Are you willing to move it? I'm asking right now because just in case of the way things shake out, I might hit you up that night and have a discussion.
So let's go to lunch. Right?
Right.
Call up on the phone and so it's just a preliminary to know that the phone line is open.
Yeah.
So nothing other than that.
Now, Neil, I do have kind of maybe a gripe with the fact that you said, your first round pick might not play. I've been on record as saying, like, if it's an offensive guard that they take with pick 28, I feel like he does need to start, because why waste a year of a rookie deal on an offensive guard if he can't beat out somebody like a Graham Glasgow his first year? I feel like if you go offensive guard in that first round, he has to kind of be a day one starter, because if he can't beat out Graham Glasgow for the job and you waste a year of the rookie deal, I don't know if I'm vibing with that. But that's just me, though.
What if he's a center to replace Frank?
Like a Gray Zabel.
I don't think, but see, you're not replacing Frank right now.
No, but I mean, Frank's got 2 years left?
And that would go into like him not playing this year.
I just don't think that's wise, but that's me.
But I'm saying though, like, be prepared for that. It's not out of the question. Woodward Sports chat thread. Art Vandelay, Braylon walking out of the draft party 2.0, loading. See, like, I don't understand how you can have a die on the hill guy.
Yeah.
Right
yeah,
now,
no.
if you're a Lions fan, like, there can't be. The man's proven that he can ID talent. You can be the biggest hater in the world. You can't deny that. Is he one of the elite drafters in the NFL?
Yes.
Yes. He's. If you don't think he's number one, like, you could say, it's Howie Roseman, whatever. He's in the top 3. We can all agree on that, right? He's in the top 3 of the NFL. So, therefore, this team now is at a point to where they're very, very talented. Because you have to be on the run they've been on the last 2 years, you have to be talented. So, therefore, they are at a point where if Brad's motto is best player available, which it seems to be, right? If that's the case, then what are you going to say if he does draft a guy that they have ID'd as the most talented player left?
You can't.
But he can't fit right then. If they take a center, D-Mac, to your point, is he beating out Ragnow?
No. And maybe not for another 2 years.
You see what I'm saying?
That's where I get concerned. Why waste a first-round pick on a guy you're not going to start for 2 years?
Because I would say
in
this.
a Super Bowl window.
Because circumstances change quickly in this mug.
I think you also have ammunition because it is the late, because that's where the 5th-year quarterback trade. If the guy, you could trade. You're in a position to trade back if the position guy's there. My question is, would you rather where you're sitting here this year, right? Like, is this year at 28 a better spot than last year at 28? Is there more talent? Is there more of what you need or what you select athletes there, or is Is there something to be moved?
My interpretation of it, as I've kind of gotten it parachuted in the last couple days, is this draft as a whole, there's not the high-end players that there is. Like the top 5 picks, I'm glad we're not picking top 5 this year.
Yeah.
Because
it ain't great.
No, it's rough out there. But the depth at edge, like the depth on the offensive line,
for what the Lions need, there's a lot of.
Bingo.
Yeah,
that's the best way to put it. That's the best way to put it.
It's a good draft for the Lions. This is
absolutely.
See, my question would be, like, for the people and in the chat, they're getting lit up about it right now.
To that point, you gotta trust in who's making the decisions.
Essentially,
right? You're telling me that you're gonna have options. Brad's gonna have options there. So
right, and Mac, that's where I get off the highway in terms of Neil. Like, if he takes offensive guard, I'm not mad. Like, as a fan, at this point, you can't be mad with any draft pick he makes because the Lions are in the the selective phase of their.
Yeah, you can say you wouldn't have done it if you were him, but you're not him. Let's see it play out. I support it.
Woodward Sports Chat Thread, DNC ENT. This draft is deeper than last year's, and last year's was pretty good. Leggett, Worthy, Barton, Nate Wiggins, Keon Coleman, all between 25 and 33.
Right.
You got to play.
But,
so I'll give you guys this then. What if he takes the interior offensive line that's not going to play, but the edge he takes in the second round ends up starting? Do you care?
Cool.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that was my takeaway from his comments today, was that we are more than comfortable with an edge or two that project to fall to us in the second round. That was my takeaway from it. Now, if you want to get in the weeds about it and say, well, if you're going to take an edge, then why wouldn't you take them in the first round so you get a fifth year?
Yes.
And that, I haven't heard media talk about that a lot, nor enough. When does that flip? You know how it takes things a minute to flip in the draft, like the quarterback thing. Back when Lamar Jackson got taken, or when Jalen Hurts got taken in the second round, it wasn't a thing. Like, if I were the Eagles in retrospect, I would have kicked the tires on moving up to the end of the first round to take them.
Right.
But we didn't think that way.
Yeah.
Even as recently as back then, people didn't think that way because the salaries keep on skyrocketing. So it's funny to me when we look at these numbers that edges are making now and wide receivers are making now. If you like one towards the beginning of the second round, if you like them a lot, you should probably slide up into that first round and take them.
And that's where Brad would have to move up in the second round if he takes the edge, because you're picking at 28 in the second round as well. So if you want a guy or you want a plethora of options, you probably need to move up in the second round.
And I understand that.
So why not move up in the first, or move into the first? But yeah.
Adis 411, Brad plays Chinese chess. Is that really even a game, Chase? I know about Chinese checkers. They don't have Chinese chess, too, do they?
I'd have to look that one up. You
couldn't afford to buy it now anyway because of the tariff, so it doesn't really matter, I guess.
It's dead on that.
No, but you feeling me at all here, D-Mac? Am I talking, like...
No, you have options.
Yeah.
Like he said, but it's going to go talent. So if you see who's going to fall there or be around there and stuff like that, so I wouldn't,
Neil, you want to know who the Eagles took in the first round of that draft instead of Jalen Hurts?
Who's that?
Jalen Reagor.
Oh, shit.
Oh, yeah. So there you go.
Yeah. BPA can be overdone, though. Like, I think it's BPA, but within reason, because a wide receiver can be best player available. I don't think he's taking a wide receiver first round. It's contrary to popular belief.
We got some good stuff in the chat here. Let's take the break, come back, and get to the good stuff in the chat.
Chinese Twister stuff.
A little bit.
Where are we going, Kate?